Hey up me ducks, in this one I'm going to show you how I made this Coffin hip flask. In order to make the flask, I've got some old material that I've got lying around from a previous project. Now this is 316 low carbon stainless steel. It is only 0.7mm thick, so it is really thin. Thin material is notoriously difficult to weld. The reason we've gone with 316 is because of its high resistance to corrosion, so that's perfect for what we need for this project. Now the fact that it's only 0.7mm means that it is going to be quite difficult to weld, and with it being stainless steel, we're going to have to set up a back purge arrangement. In order to make the front and back panels near identical, I've made this little template and I'm going to transfer this onto the materials before we make the cut. So my plan is, I'm just going to stick the template onto the material like so, draw around it, and then I can cut it out. So we've got our parts cut out, but they're a little bit warped from using the tin snips, so I'm just going to hammer them flat. I've cut out a strip of material, and this is what I'm going to use for the sides of the flask. I put some markings on there for the bends, and they're going to match the angles of these coffin edges. Now that we've got the edges of the side piece bent up to fit the profile of the angles on the coffin face, we now need to tack it up so we can weld it. In order to do that, I've got this piece of copper and I'm going to lay this on the corner where we're going to weld. This is very thin material, it's 0.7mm, and also with it being stainless steel, you don't want any atmosphere getting into the back of the weld because otherwise it'll start to oxidize. But also it will help to reduce the amount of heat warp. So I'm going to put that on like that, and then I'm going to add this kind of cookie cutter, cut out, bent up piece of strip that we've got. We'll clamp it up and then we can get it tacked. So in order to protect the welds when we start to enclose this thing, I'm going to have to set up a purge. And what that means is filling the interior chamber of the flask with argon gas. For the top piece, I'm going to use a slightly thicker piece of stainless. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want it to securely fit our mouthpiece. Now the mouthpieces on hip flasks are generally quite small. I'm going to use this bolt, and this is solid stainless steel. It's 316, so it's not been zinc coated or anything like that, so it should be fine for what we want. Now for the cap, I'm going to use a capped nut. What we're going to do, drill a hole through the bolt all the way down the middle, basically turning it into a tube, put it through the top piece of stainless steel. Now drilling the bolt out is going to be fun because I don't have a lathe, so we're going to have to figure that one out. The reason that we're doing the mouthpiece now is because we need to use the mouthpiece in order to purge the interior of the flask, so we're going to fill it with argon. The part's been drilled, however, it's not quite central. So I'm going to see if we can make it a little neater by boring it out with the Dremel. If that doesn't work, I think I'm going to try and do it again, but get it a little straighter. The welding's complete. We have encountered a little bit of heat warp on both sides. Now that is due to two things. One, us using really thin material. Remember, this is only 0.7mm thick. And the other, we haven't used enough heat control. So that's things like copper chills. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna build another one, and we're gonna use slightly thicker material on that one, and I am gonna take more care with them copper chills, just making sure they are clamped nice and tight to the material, just to prevent any heat distortion. Also on the next one, I am gonna add a chain that spans from the cap to the body, just so you don't lose the cap once you've undone it. Overall though, I think the design has worked out well, and in the build that follows, using this as a prototype and taking the things that we've learned, I think we can make something that looks really, really cool. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, please do share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next build. Hit the bell notification so you get an alert when that video comes out, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Just polishing my cap. Fits on there nicely now.